like a dog, then they have to either adjourn or dismiss the case.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. When you learn the sovereign process and master it, when you walk in, they're going to try to give you 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 different commands. And if you can't dodge those pitfalls, then they're just going to eat you alive. He brings up in one of his videos how there was a guy who went to court, followed the process completely. Now, he had a toothpick in his mouth, and basically what happened at the end is he said, does anybody have a claim against me? And they had to say, no, I don't have a claim against you. So as he was walking out of the building, the judge said, get that toothpick out of your mouth. And the guy turned around to reply, and he took the toothpick out of his mouth, and the bailiff jumped on him because they gained jurisdiction over him right then and there. It's more advanced stuff. And another thing that you can do when you go to court, you can use your straw man or your bond to write basically a bond to pay your utility bills, to pay your traffic tickets and things like that. I asked him about this, but I can understand why he didn't want to answer this question, because it's some really, really advanced stuff, and you don't want to go in there halfway, because there's a lot of people who have gone to jail for trying to do this. There's a lot of people that know how to do it, but if you don't do the process right, then you can wind up going to jail. So this is his answer on how to write a bond to pay your traffic tickets.
Well, that's another topic that requires a full understanding, and it's not to be toyed with. I return process on all of my tickets and fines, not that I've had any for a long time, and I deal with the bailiffs as I would any other third-party intervener. I tell them to prove their claim or get lost. The third-party collection companies have better things to do than trying to prove something that simply isn't true, and they invariably move on to easier prey.
Easier prey is a very interesting term that he used, because that's exactly how they see us, as prey, and they're going to go after whoever is uneducated and whoever is weak. They want people to go get attorneys that makes the system turn and turn and turn and turn. One of the things that I always wonder, though, is we're dealing with basically lawless people. They don't care what the law says. They don't care if you're right or not. They don't care if you're a sovereign. They still have the guns. They're going to throw you in jail. They're going to do whatever they want to do. So how do we handle these officials that are completely out of line, and where do we go from there when we run into one of them?
Now, this is a sore point for most, and in the case of ignorant and abusive officers, there is remedy in the form of the commercial lien process. It really isn't for the faint-hearted, though. I have several associates in the UK who, having filed a lien against a rogue authority, have had very aggressive visits from the corporation's agents. If you can withstand the pressure of a visit, and you're determined enough, then it's worth exploring. Essentially, the process involves creating an affidavit regarding the incident, which will include unrebuttable statements of fact. An unrebutted affidavit is the key to your lien. Again, this is another of those elements of commercial law that require a full understanding to have any success, and it's not a weapon I put into inexperienced hands. When it comes to martial law, on the other hand, all rights are suspended in the name of national security, and you've got little or no recourse. Now that's where the real danger lies, and one we're heading for in due course, in my opinion. You just become a body under martial law, and if your body's in the way, they'll move it. Isn't it then just a case of simply staying under the radar and defending yourself physically as best you can if necessary?
And I pray that it doesn't come down to that, but all signs are pointing in that direction, that we'll be dealing with martial law. Could be a month, could be a year, could be 10 years. But it's coming, because we are living in end times. This is Truth Frequency with Chris Gio and Associate Student. We'll be back right in a few minutes with the Anti-Terrorist.
Destruction, motor skill malfunction, corruption has reached the limits. New execute prestigious regions. Say good day to the USA. Now blown away in half damn planet. It's how they plan it. I just didn't understand it. The pain and hurt from radiation, and watching everyone you know get exterminated from a nuclear cremation. I'm ready to put the Bush administration on a permanent vacation. Make them wonder what the earth lessons of my meditation. No medication to deal with this virus that my head is making. I didn't write this, my pen bled while I fainted from the loss of oxygen. Trying to unblock my thoughts boxed in. Self-taught, no need for Dr. Enzyme. Poison like a water moccasin. Ripping through your socket skin, pumping you with a deadly amount of venom. Steadily bound to get them. We can prevent end times if you took time to listen, yeah. We can prevent end times if you took time to listen. It's the end of all time. This is the last day. Look at the sky while you kneel down to pray. This is what you gotta say. This is what you gotta say. It's the end of all time, this is the last day. Look at the sky while you kneel down to pray. This is what you gotta say. This is what you gotta say. I'ma live my life one day at a time, and I'll be fine with whatever fate is mine. You live what you create, hell is just a state of mind. Your ego controls you, so let this be a lesson. Don't let your mind have a state and pick heaven, cause it's the only defense against this weapon. Before we see another Genesis 6-7, from underground earthquakes below the ocean, you got to examine humanity, learn and know emotion. Famine's a calamity occurring in slow motion. It kills over 20 million people a year. The government's been controlling your minds with fear. I know Bin Laden's living in the valley of deer. Is the Antichrist here? Has he yet to appear? Or is that just a word to describe connected intense misery? A presence that has affected events in history. I guess that's left a mystery, except the steps of wizardry. Don't second guess your inner me. Just let it go, just let it be. Cause once we all witness the horsemen, we'll see a disaster of biblical proportion. Locust swarming and global warming. You can consider this a global warning. We need a shift in consciousness. The gift you want is bliss, but since a child you've been taught that this does not exist. That's why we make tracks that have got a hypnotic twist. I want to see your hands make what you would call a fist. It's not the end of life, it's just the end of time. This is the end of you being confined to your mind. But there'll be a lot more graves, military raids, bombs and brigades, and modern day plagues that would make a paleopathologist call it quits. That causes powerful psychological fits, all it hits. Cause it's the end of all time, this is the last day. Look at the sky while you kneel down to pray. This is what you gotta say. It's the end of all time, this is the last day. Look at the sky while you kneel down to pray. This is what you gotta say. And this is what you gotta say. End of the road of the unknown, we shows we have nowhere to go. We already where we need to be, seeing what we need to see, breathing what we need to breathe. Not caring if you're feeling me, long if you're hearing me. Fear and power, hungry officials, they can choke on the whistles. Man, your pistols hit them up with triples, till the blood ripples in rivers and lakes. Mind states are electrifying earthquakes that vibrate. Force fields of energy, everyone's friends, no enemies. Would send me these words to speak. Where does it come from, this enemy that pleads with the need to succeed, to follow a dream that seems to be in close quarters? Now on camcorders, rhyming ability is a damn disorder. Borderline crazy, past mere thoughts is hazy. Only God can save me, baby. Slashing the tires of the mayor's Mercedes. Crossing pipe bombs in the courthouse. Of course now I push the envelope. No, I didn't clear his throat with the words that I wrote. Not to be taken as a joke. Little did you know, people are being raped on a daily basis. Infiltrating races, good gracious. Discriminating on the color of faces. And wonder why I'm losing my patience and anxious to see what takes us away from this oasis. Lord's graces forgave us for the destruction of creation of our gift to live. I'll give this gift to the kids. Do as we did. Follow your heart. This isn't the end. This is merely the start.
And welcome back to Truth Frequency, ladies and gentlemen. This is Chris Gio, and I'm joined, of course, by Socio Student. And we are airing a pre-recorded interview with the Anti-Terrorist. Just for the people that just tuned in, what we're doing is using pre-recorded answers. We put together a list of questions, sent it over to the Anti-Terrorist. He sent us back the answers in audio format. The reason for that is, of course, to protect his identity. We were just speaking about the coming of martial law and how everything is basically about to crumble. And it's really sad. I mean, my heart just cries out for our republic. But when you really look at everything, everything is a complete and total fraud anyways. It's all set up as a corporation. The courts are set up as corporations. The United States of America is set up as corporations. We're set up as legal fictions, which are basically corporations. We've got straw man accounts, which are basically bonds, which are basically investors trade on the stock market. We're being traded on the stock market, ladies and gentlemen. So the next question that I had for the Anti-Terrorist was, can you tell us a little bit about the court systems and nations, etc., being set up as corporations?
Corporations themselves are natural processes of society. By that I mean when a group of people gather for a particular purpose, such as with a view to forming a community, they're a corporation, but there's no criminal intent attached. It's when corporations are established with the power to declare themselves bankrupt that makes them criminal. This is the situation our governments are in today, the richest, most powerful nations on earth being bankrupt. Just the thought is ridiculous. The creation of corporations is sold as the most expedient way to operate in commerce, but, in my opinion, corporations are established primarily to escape punishment for the crimes committed by the members of the board. It enables them to create and instigate fraudulent contracts and then place the blame on a fictional organization responsible to no one. However, the term piercing the corporate veil is a legal one, which identifies the process where a court removes the protection provided individual members of a corporation for criminal activity and makes these members responsible for their own actions. Courts, like any other business, operate as a corporation in commerce for the reasons I've stated. The courts we have are not courts of law, they're courts of commercial contract, and you contract with them voluntarily or just out of pure ignorance. If you're even remotely curious about that fact, you might consider looking into admiralty jurisdiction and contract law. A good starting point would be my Real Prison Without Bars video on YouTube.
Now, what he just said, ladies and gentlemen, is some pretty advanced stuff. I know a lot of people